I've done this for 31 years, and nothing I've seen has prepared me for what I see now. This is indicative of an expansion of demand into a segment of the population that never even knew gold and silver existed. Really is not prepared for that. And we're seeing that right now in mints that can't keep up with demand, refineries that can't keep up with demand, retailers that are out of product, premiums that are going to the moon. The whole precious metals equation is growing in popularity, and maybe even more so in realization that there's value there and that it should be part of people's portfolio. Yeah, the realization that silver might be the most undervalued commodity or asset on the planet, roughly half of its 1980 double peak high. You know, there are no assets that I can think of that are trading at half of what they were in 1980. To find an asset trading at roughly half of it that has such massive amounts of utility is waking people up to the value. But it's also the Reddit folks who have, I think, also helped people understand that there's 8 commercial banks that are net short over 50% of the entire volume on COMEX. That's just unheard of. It's the only commodity where you see that. And they are largely naked short. You know, you have also a delivery month, and you know, a lot of people are expecting fireworks because of this massive short position, on top of the fact that there's a record long position open interest into this delivery month. And if they stand for delivery, there is all bets are off. There is a possibility that it could put massive strain on the COMEX. Could it break it? Maybe. Could it be cash settlement? Maybe. Could you see massive short covering? Maybe. And I think that these banks who are short right now, this massive short position, not only is incentivizing people to realize this is a heck of a play, much better than that of gold, arguably, but also I think it offers massive upside potential we don't normally associate with precious metals. I mean, I always talk about precious metals being about return of your investment, less return on it. But I'll tell you, silver is, no question about it, is poised and set up on many different levels, supply demand being the biggest of which, for massive, massive upside potential. And again, that's not why I tell people to buy it, but I would be lying if I said I didn't completely see it and expect it. When it happens, how it happens, is anyone's guess, because when I look back over 30 years, Elijah, most of the stuff we've talked about since the late 80s, early 90s have come true, almost all of it. Never when we thought, always much later than we thought, never how we thought, but mathematics and economics and logic have a way of playing out through time. You can't really run from them. You can hide with variables and manipulation, but in the end, it catches you. Mother Nature will catch us and catch the silver price. And those 8 banks that are massively short, which is foolhardy, it used to be easy to do when no one wanted it. Now you have, you know, an awful lot of attention on it. And yeah, I think it's the buying opportunity of a generation. I mean that. And I've been accumulating it myself in favor or in lieu of gold now for the better part of a year. Just this realization that so many of the assets or investments out there are distorted, that price discovery is so difficult nowadays that I think people take a look at their 401k and their stock portfolios, and it doesn't really register how it could be doing so well against the backdrop of an economy that has been eviscerated. Businesses, and small businesses in particular, gone. 140,000 will never come back. That is the backbone of this country. Small and mid-sized businesses represent almost half of GDP, just over 40%, and they're gone. And but not only that, just the things that we used to do in terms of consumption, which is so important to the GDP and the economy of this country, that has just been ground to a halt. And yet through all of that, we see a stock market at all-time highs. I think people realize that valuations are off and that they are looking at maybe the fact that profit's not a 4-letter word, that they're taking some profit in overvalued assets and shuffling it to undervalued assets. I think there's also people's concern about a new digital Fed dollar, which will all but eliminate all privacy and anonymity. I think having precious metals is one of the few, if not the only, asset that is going to get you completely out of the matrix. And I guess you could argue that to an extent with cryptocurrencies. But here again, you see the proliferation in demand in cryptocurrencies too. I think people are scared. They say there's no bull market like a gold bull market for one reason, and it's that it plays on our fear and our concern. And yes, there's still profit potential, and people see that. There's still the greed side of things, but I think people are scared about what's coming, the unknown, the uncertainty of what is coming down the pike. And I think that's what's playing a large role in why people are so insatiably demanding physical metal, and they want it now and they want it in their possession because they realize that the things are accelerating. Time is blurred nowadays, and what used to take months now takes days. And prime example is this February 24th COMEX beginning of the delivery month. People are freaking out. They want it in their possession before then. They think it's going to collapse, or they want to at least have it locked in before then so we can hedge the deal, because they think the market's going to explode or the COMEX could collapse. And there are a lot of variables at play that are accelerating, and I think that builds into people's anxiety. When the expansion of demand and uses, Biden's Green New Deal, Tesla, and battery, Samsung and Apple, and all of these things that will be needed, and I've talked about the Chinese Belt Road and Rail Initiative, the connecting of Asia and Africa, the largest infrastructure project in human history. It's 65% of human population can be connected, not just by roads, but also by infrastructure, which needs silver. The demand for silver is growing exponentially. The supply of silver is decreasing exponentially. I think people are understanding it's because it's being held back by the commercial banks, by JP Morgan and all the other banks who are holding down the price unquestionably. That tells me that deep down, the COMEX is concerned about a run, and the fact that they are not letting 1,000-ounce bars out, they're concerned. Why till March? Well, the delivery month starts February 24th. And you see the prospectus and SLV change. They're concerned about not enough supply backing the number of shares issued. The whole thing is getting exponentially more tight, like a coiled spring. And at some point it pops. Mathematically, logically, economically, I can't see a way that it doesn't. When it happens, that's the $6 million question.